It's getting hard to keep track of all the things that are racist these days. Jefferson statues, milk, not wanting African Americans to abort their children. That's racist. Now add another one to the long list. Cauliflower is racist. In a video posted on Sunday, young pioneer Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez explained to her followers that it is deeply problematic to grow cauliflower in urban gardens.
Really think about it. When someone says that it's too hard to do a green space that grows yucca instead of, I don't know, cauliflower or something, what you're doing is that you're taking a colonial approach to environmentalism. And that is why a lot of communities of color get resistant to certain environmentalist movements, because they come with a colonial lens on them.
Huh? Even adjusting for the fact she's dumb, which she obviously is, it's still confusing. What is she saying? We need a liberal Sherpa to help us figure it out. Kathy Rue is the founder of Catalina Magazine and a frequent guest on our show, and she joins us tonight. Kathy, thanks so much for coming on. So,
thanks for having me.
How racist is cauliflower? And let me just say, I don't like cauliflower, so don't look at me like I'm part of the cauliflower problem. I'm not. But how racist is it?
Thank goodness. Well, it's part of monocropping. So our colonial ancestors grew cauliflower. So they're cropping the same old vegetables, not good for the environment because it's the same nutrients in the ground. And it actually hurts the environment to have the same old. So the corn, the cauliflower, colonialism. So she's talking about diversifying our vegetables as we should diversify our culture. So yucca instead of cauliflower is the way to go if you do not want to be racist when it comes to our community gardens.
So, okay, cauliflower, I mean, you make a fair point. Cauliflower is a European vegetable. It originates in the Mediterranean region, I believe.
Right.
Indigenous to the New World is tobacco. That comes from the indigenous peoples of the Americas, and syphilis too, by the way. So, would you say that tobacco, it's better? Well, I don't know now. I mean, tobacco is an indigenous plant, but you're saying it's bad, but it's, I don't understand. So you're saying tobacco is worse than cauliflower or better than cauliflower?
Well, the point is, the term is the monocropping. It's the growing the same thing in our earth. So there are no nutrients that are being given to our land. So therefore, it hurts the environment. So if we grow new things, so forget the tobacco, forget the cauliflower. We need the new yucca. We need the new frijoles. We need the new different plantains. We need different crops being grown to help our environment. So,
but none of those. But can you say that the climate plays a role in this? So I don't think yucca or plantains grow very well in the climate of, say, New York City, Brooklyn, or Queens.
Have we tried,
I think those
though?
are,
I mean, have
right.
we tried? Those community gardens are usually led by people with time on their hands, those upper class women, upper class members of society who have time to volunteer, not those middle class workers. Yeah. So it's
the
a
racist cauliflower
choice, right?
eaters. Are you concerned? Last question. Are you concerned about applying social justice standards to the food we eat? Do you think ultimately that might, I don't know, drive us insane and cause food shortages?
I'm afraid. I mean, we need to realize that salsa is more popular than ketchup. So if we were truly racist, we wouldn't allow salsa in this country. So thank goodness we are such a wonderful country that allows diverse foods and crops to come into our country, and we can diversify our food and our crops. Yeah.
Every time I get mad at the left, I think it must be living hell to be a member of it, because you'd have to remember all the rules. I don't think I could do all.
It's not that hard.
But Kathy Rue,
good.
It's baffling to me. We're so glad that you're keeping track, though. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
While he tried to say it's because I said cover up, we've been saying cover up for a while. I wish that his family or his administration or his staff would have an intervention for the good of the country.
She's a mess. She's not the same person. she's lost it.
It sounds like they used to date or something, you know? I mean, they're just so mad. Democrats moving on from collusion and now going all in on accusations of a cover-up. But the president did just order the declassification of some Mueller probe documents. Would he do that if he had something to hide? Joining us to debate this is University of Maryland lecturer Jason Nichols and former RNC spokesperson Kevin Sheridan. Hey, guys. Good morning. They are at each other's throats lately. This last week has been really ugly. Jason, I want to start with you. The president just is declassifying some of these documents, trying to look at how this thing got started, this Mueller probe got started. Adam Schiff is very upset about this. Why be mad about being more transparent?
Well, I think that just as William Barr and many other people said, there are certain things that need to be classified. There are certain things that need to remain classified. But the president is the person who's not being transparent. He needs to release his financial documents. He needs to release much of, some of the other information that he's been asked for. He needs to let people testify. That's transparency. But this president instead has temper tantrums, gets upset, and tries retribution, which is really unpresidential and sad for our nation.
You say he's not transparent, but over the course of the 2 years of the Mueller probe, you'll admit that he was quite transparent.
He tried to obstruct at every turn, and that's what the Mueller probe says.
He didn't deny them anything they wanted. He gave them all the requested documents, right?
Yeah, well, again, like I said, he tried to obstruct. He just didn't succeed very well. And, it still left the door open for many other issues that have arisen.
Kevin, I want to give you a chance to respond. What do you think of this?
Look, Democrats are at risk of talking themselves into an impeachment process that I think Nancy Pelosi recognizes is not best for the Democratic Party going into 2020. But with press conferences like yesterday, where she's got a lot of hot and kind of, crazy rhetoric out there about cover-ups and everything else, I don't see how they're going to be able to stop the train once it starts. And the American people aren't with them on this. Their base is with them. The media is reinforcing them for ratings. But the overwhelming majority of people do not want an impeachment process of this president. We decide our elections at the ballot, and we've got another one coming up.
Well, and Jason, Nancy's trying to walk this line. You can tell she doesn't really want to go all in on impeachment. The president put out a tweet saying that all the Democrats want to do is find stuff to make me look bad. They don't want to get any work done. Are they in a dangerous place?
I disagree. I think that the president is the person who's talking himself into impeachment. Nancy Pelosi is doing the right thing by kind of hanging back to a certain degree. And, of course, there are many people who are pushing for impeachment. I think there are some people on the left who have been premature in pushing for impeachment. But the president and his actions and his irascibility, those are the things that are pushing more and more for impeachment. Okay. And I would say that impeachment is not a matter of popularity. It's not a popularity contest, even though the president isn't very popular. That's not how this works. This is Congress's role. Congress's role is
Kevin, go
oversight.
ahead. Kevin, jump in there. Yeah.
Well, look, the impeachment process is whatever Congress wants it to be. It was intentionally set up that way in the Constitution, and it's however Congress defines it. So it is a political process, and they need to make the decision if they're going to put their money where their mouth is, if they're going to allege cover-up, which is a very serious charge. Then you need to start an impeachment process, and you need to go through it and see where it leads. And if they want to impeach him, then they should do that. And the Senate is obviously probably not going to come close to convicting, but the House will then be on the hook for it with the voters in 2020.
Well, it does seem like the president's daring Nancy Pelosi to try impeachment. We'll see where that goes. In the meantime, the genesis of all this, there's a lot of finger pointing from Brennan and Comey and Loretta Lynch. So we got to see where that goes as well. Gentlemen, we appreciate you coming on this morning. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, he tried to say it's because I said cover up. We've been saying cover up for a while. I wish that his family or his administration or his staff would have an intervention for the good of the country.
She's a mess. She's not the same person. She's lost it.
Well, the president and Nancy Pelosi trading jabs just hours before the White House announced the declassification of all documents relating to the surveillance of the Trump campaign. Democrats insisting the president is involved in a cover-up. But how much more transparent can you be? Matt Brainerd is the executive director of Look Ahead America and former Trump data director. He joins us now live to talk a little bit more about this. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
So let's just start with that. I mean, how much more transparent can you be? I mean, now the president is saying that the AG bar has the permission to declassify any documents related to what happened, in 2016 leading up to the election in terms of, Russia and possible collusion and what went into the FISA warrant, what went into surveillance of the Trump campaign, all of that.
Yeah, sunlight is a wonderful disinfectant. And, if you think about the context here, remember, it was the Democrats who were so vociferous in opposing the Patriot Act or supporting the Church Commission to try to limit the potential of spying agencies, of intelligence agencies, being able to spy on Americans for political purposes. This is exactly what has ostensibly happened here. So they should be cheerleading the opportunity to reveal what actually went on so that people can be held accountable. But right now, they're so scared of this because they're afraid of what it's going to reveal about a Democratic administration spying on American citizens engaged in legal political activities. And the fact that they're so terrified leads me to think maybe they know how bad this is going to be, and we're going to start asking questions of people in the previous administration, including folks like their front runner, Joe Biden. What did he know, when did he know it?
Yeah, here's what Sarah Sanders had to say about this, the presidential memorandum, which went out late last night. She says, in part, the Attorney General has also been delegated full and complete authority to declassify information pertaining to this investigation. Today's action will help ensure that all Americans learn the truth about the events that occurred during the last presidential election. And as you were saying, not just Democrats, everyone should want that to happen because this is something that should not happen in any future elections.
Yeah, this is stuff that you would think of happening in communists, in a Soviet country or someplace where there's a totalitarian government that needs to keeps an eye on their citizens, not in the United States. And it's very disturbing that a political party and their left-wing allies in the media are trying to get in the way or condemning the release of this information because they've always told us, they've always said this is why we oppose the Patriot Act, this is why we seek limitations on agencies like the FBI and the CIA. But now that something's actually happened, well, it's political now because it looks like their party or their party's leadership are the ones that are behind it. So it's incredibly hypocritical.
It's like, requesting and wanting all of the portions of the Mueller report to be unredacted, put it all out there. Well, this is taking a step further and putting it all out there. So will this be good enough for them?
I think that when these reports are released, you'll see how their stories change. Because what comes out of this report, what comes out of the declassified information, assuming it's made public, because again, unlike them asking for the Mueller report to be declassified and made public so everybody can read it, this isn't what's happening. What's happening is that the Attorney General is going to be able to take a look at it and determine whether or not crimes have been committed. So this is just a first step in a very long process, and that they're this scared this early is very telling.
Well, and don't forget the IG report. That is supposed to come out, I think it was in June, so that is right around the corner. We will see. Thank you so much for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right.